We've already explored how one person's life force can be siphoned by another, intentionally or otherwise. In this next step of our journey, we turn our gaze skyward to one of the most captivating fixtures in esoteric practice, the moon. For centuries, mystics, witches, and energy workers have harnessed lunar phases to supercharge their rituals, whether for healing, transformation, or in the darker corners of the occult, siphoning someone else's vitality. This chapter examines the mechanics of these moon-powered workings, the ethical questions they raise, and the steps by which such rituals are typically carried out, at least according to popular lore. However, I also want to emphasize an important personal lesson. Despite the secrecy and power of moon-based magic, it can be thwarted, sometimes dramatically. For years I was subjected to these siphoning rituals by so-called friends, who drained my manifestation chi through collective rites. I eventually recognized the pattern, made specific decrees to reverse the energy theft, and effectively pulled back the manifestation chi they had siphoned. In doing so, I disrupted an entire cult-like network that depended on my stolen energy. Many of them faced intense karmic consequences unless and until they made amends with the Lord. This personal experience underscores both the potency and moral weight of these manipulations, as well as the fact that divine justice or karmic balance can prevail in startling ways. The moon's waxing and waning have always fascinated humanity. Farmers once planted by its cycles, poets waxed lyrical about its glow, and spiritual seekers studied its phases for deeper insight. Today, you'll find many occult practitioners who still view the lunar cycle as a potent calendar for magical work, including, unfortunately, forms of energy siphoning. New moon, full moon, and eclipses, why they might be used for siphoning spells. New moon, beginnings, and invisibility. Occultists see the new moon as a time of initiation, where energies are subtly building but not yet visible. In siphoning rituals, the new moon phase can be chosen to conceal one's intentions. In the darkness, it's believed that stealthy manipulations, like hooking into someone's energy field, go more easily undetected. Full moon, maximum power. The full moon is often called the mother of manifestation. Its radiance is said to amplify spells and emotional states alike. For those seeking to pull or draw upon another's life force, the full moon's heightened energy can act like a magnifying glass. Everything is bigger, bolder, and more intense, including, potentially, a target's chi. Eclipses, chaotic catalysts. Eclipses are wildcards in the lunar cycle. Cosmic reboots, some say, moments when the usual rules are suspended. An eclipse-based siphoning ritual carries extra unpredictability. Proponents believe you can strike a target at a moment when the veil between worlds is unusually thin. Critics warn that such chaos can, and often does, backfire disastrously. Charging tools under moonlight, crystals, candles, water. Regardless of the specific phase, a common practice in moon-centric magic is to charge ritual tools under the lunar glow. Crystals. Selenite moonstone clear quartz are popular for absorbing lunar energy. Under a full moon, practitioners leave them out overnight, believing they'll soak up and amplify the moon's potency. In a siphoning context, a crystal might be programmed with the intention to attract or hold another person's chi. Candles. Candles inscribed with symbols or names can be placed in moonlight to imbue them with added power. Once charged, the candle becomes a vehicle for focusing intention, often used in tandem with sigils or personal items linked to the target. Water. Moon water is a staple in many magical communities. Water left in a jar or bowl under the moon to capture its essence. Some might use this moon water to anoint themselves or the object of their ritual, believing it primes the environment for energy transfer. Steps of a typical siphoning moon ritual, as described in lore. While the specifics can vary from one tradition to another, most accounts of moon-based siphoning follow a rough outline, what you might call a recipe found in grimoires or whispered among those willing to manipulate energy for personal gain. Setting intention. The practitioner identifies the target, a person or group, and clarifies why they want to drain or redirect that energy. In darker magical circles, this might be motivated by envy, power hunger, or even a perceived need for self-defense. Many, however, condemn this as a serious ethical violation. Inscribing names and sigils. The practitioner may carve or draw identifying marks onto a candle, paper, or talisman, anything that can hold symbolic meaning. Sigils, custom symbols crafted to represent specific outcomes, are embedded with the target's name or an intention to siphon their vital force. Charging and activating. Tools, candles, crystals, water, are left under the appropriate lunar phase to charge them with lunar energy. The ritual circle is cast, incantations are spoken, or silent meditation is performed to activate the desired effect, the act of siphoning. In these lore-based accounts, the practitioner visualizes the target's aura or energy field, then pulls that energy inward, sometimes aided by chanting, drumming, or rhythmic breathing. They might imagine an energetic cord hooking into the target and siphoning off the target's life force. Risks and ethical debates within the occult community. Just because these rituals are written about doesn't mean they're universally embraced. In fact, stealing or siphoning another's chi is one of the most hotly contested topics in esoteric circles. Moral and karmic consequences. Many witches, magicians, and energy workers uphold a harm-none ethic, making non-consensual siphoning taboo. Even self-identified chaos magicians, who often reject strict moral codes, acknowledge the high potential for blowback or karmic entanglement. Personal energetic repercussions. Foreign energy can carry negative traits, stress, anxiety, trauma. Merging it with your own system risks imbalance or illness. As my own experience proved, when a group thrives on stolen energy, reversing or cutting off that source can cause significant rebound on them, sometimes manifesting as swift karmic justice or intense personal crises. Skepticism and practical dangers. From a psychological standpoint, those attempting siphoning may spiral into paranoia or illusions of grandeur. Witch wars can break out if multiple practitioners suspect one another of siphoning, creating toxic communal environments. A case of reversal and divine justice. As I mentioned, I discovered I'd been a target for years. My so-called friends, systematically using my chi for their cult's manifestation work. Through decrees and spiritual declarations, I reclaimed my stolen energy. Their dependence on me became their downfall. Many of them faced dire consequences unless they made their peace with the Lord. This first-hand encounter underscores how the cosmic or divine framework can swiftly right the scales, reinforcing that destructive actions, especially those involving spiritual theft, rarely end well for the perpetrator. Final thoughts. Navigating lunar magic responsibly. Moon rituals can be awe-inspiring. Whether you're releasing old baggage under a waning moon or harnessing the full moon's brilliance for personal growth, the lunar currents offer a potent backdrop for transformation. But using that cosmic force to siphon another's life force invites a cascade of ethical, karmic, and even practical pitfalls. For my part, I stand firmly with those who believe in harnessing lunar energy for upliftment, healing, and mutual well-being, rather than clandestine power grabs. And let my own story be a cautionary tale. No amount of stolen chi can protect those who operate outside spiritual laws. Eventually the cosmic scales tip. By grounding ourselves in ethical practice, humility, and a genuine desire for collective elevation, we can engage in moon-led rituals that nurture rather than devour. In the next chapter we'll delve deeper into the moral gray areas of group rituals and covens, examining how alliances can magnify power, for good or ill, and why secrecy becomes so vital for certain communities. Because if the moon is the majestic lamp that illuminates magical workings, groups often provide the structural support or the greatest threat to ethical boundaries.